Hey, hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Akshay from Decisions, and welcome to Dungeon Learn session. I'll try to answer your questions that you might have. To post the questions, you can use the chat option or also the Q&A option in the Zoom. And you can also unmute yourself and talk if you want to. So I'm just going ahead and looking at the question from Greg about the form control value. Share the trigger component name. Okay, so I'm gonna share my studio now, and let's look at this one. Hey, Greg, can you unmute yourself and maybe talk a little bit more about the problem that you're having?
Hey.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. So when you
Yeah.
go into the active form flows,
Yeah.
you know how you could set a text box value if you use like a create data step, and then you do the change value on the output.
Yeah.
And you could change that. Well, that's like a hardcore mapping, hardcore mapping. But I want to change it judging by whatever the user clicks on the form. So say the user clicks on a text box. I want to be able to change that text box value, but I want the same flow for all my text boxes. I don't know, maybe I could share my screen, it would help.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Thank you. All right, can you see that?
Yep.
So basically, I'm gonna run this flow here. It's gonna bring up a form. So this is the form here. So these are all text boxes here. So I want to be able to have the same flow, active form flow for each text box. So say I click on this right here. Okay, that will run an active form flow. So I go over here. This is the active form flow right here. So I'm using a get. I want to be able to set control value, but it's hard to explain.
So you want to set value only for the text box that you are clicking?
Yes, correct. And the only way I could do it is if I hardcore map it here, but then I'd have to make a form flow for each text box, if you follow me.
Right.
Because I thought maybe you could make a data type for a form like one of these, like a type, like a form control data type, but
right,
it doesn't let you do that. Like if you check here, form control data, it doesn't have any types that you can use.
So did you try these options that are available in the when you select from flow, you get that trigger components, trigger ID, trigger type. Have you explored that?
Yeah, I explored those. It looks like I could change like the type and maybe the component name, but I can't change the value. The value inside the text box. I don't see a type that I could possibly use. I tried looking for, typing in trigger, and then I went through these like trigger date, form trigger data, and things like that, but I couldn't. So say I save that, I'd go back in here and then I'd look for, build data or something like that, but it's just component name events. Like I can't find any data type that has the actual component value.
See, it's okay. I mean, let me understand the problem, right? I mean, I can take that offline, if not now. So if you go back to your form that you built, so what's the expectation here? So all of these are text boxes, and if you click on any of these, what's supposed to happen?
The current username would basically go into the box.
Okay, who is interacting with the form?
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
The one who is initiating the form, essentially, right?
Yes.
Okay, so in this case, I think it's you. So Greg should come up when you click on this box.
Yep.
And any box that you click on should be, I mean, the logic remains the same. It's just that we want to populate the name when somebody clicks on these boxes, and it's their name.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct. And then click on it
Okay.
again and your name would disappear essentially.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you click, it comes, and you click again, it disappears. Okay, it sets null. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. I think what I'm going to do is I have somebody in my team who is, quite expertise on active form flow. So I'm going to take with them, and I can send you an export of the form that will have a working one if we can do that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Perfect.
Would you like me to stop sharing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, thank you. And is he going to be in touch with me by email after the meeting?
Yeah. You can just drop your email. I'm going to take a note of it, and then we'll just communicate through that once we have that working.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, cool. Hey, hi, Radley. I think you have a question.
Hey, Akshay.
Hi.
Yeah, so on a rich text text box, you can set the default font and font size.
Mhm.
However, what I'm finding is when you use that text box, it shows the default font size, but that's not actually being set that way. Like when you would save that value, when you bring that value back, it's coming up as whatever the backend or original default was. You actually have to click on the drop-down box, pick the font size that you want, and then it sets it to that size. I'm just wondering if I'm doing something wrong, or
Yeah.
there's another way to set that, maybe through an active form flow or something, or if it's some kind of bug.
Can you share the screen so I can
Absolutely.
understand? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You able to see my screen okay?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So here I have a rich text box.
Mhm.
You can see I have the default font and font size, Arial and 14.
Right.
And I can walk you through the whole thing, but I can show you, right here is the output. So you can see here, this is the default font. And then this is after I select 14. So you can see the default font is much smaller than when I selected. So let me go through that. So I come in here, you can see as soon as I click, go Arial 14,
Mhm.
I can type some stuff.
Right.
But if I click this, you can see it's default, it's not 14. So I pick 14, and now I start typing again. You can see that's much smaller.
Mhm. So this is the actual 14, right? This one, what
Right.
you selected. Okay.
Right.
Hmm.
So I save it, and then if I were to pull that data back and actually view it, let's go all the way to the end here. Right. That first little bit is, we'll call the default, and the second part is after I selected 14.
Okay.
Which seems, yeah.
And you want it to behave in the sense like whatever default you have set in the form settings.
Yeah.
You want that to be there in the rich text and
Right.
also here. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay.
I want the user to have to pick something.
Right. So although it's showing as 14, when you were interacting with that rich text box and you were typing, it was showing 14, which is, I think, coming from the setting that you have.
Right.
But it's not actually 14 when it's typing that up.
Correct.
Oh, this is weird. Yeah. Can you do that thing again? That action of
absolutely.
adding? Yeah, let's look at it again. So here, okay, it comes as 14, And when you
Right.
type that, so this is not 14, this is maybe 16 or something.
I'm not sure what it is
Or-
because you can see it's not selecting, like it's still selecting on default.
Right.
But if I select 14, pick 14, start typing again.
Yeah, it's definitely bigger than 14.
So now it's figured out 14. If I click back in the middle of this one and go to the drop down again, it goes back to default. And clearly, I mean, just visually, you can tell those aren't the same size.
Right. Yeah. And when it's funny, like in this case, the first bit looks,
Right.
like a
It was
bigger
bigger.
here.
Yeah.
But when you submit that, it becomes smaller and the other
Right.
one becomes bigger. Yeah, I'm not sure if I have the answer for this
Okay.
one.
No worry. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding or doing something
Yeah.
wrong. So does this need to be some sort of
Yeah.
development ticket or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna replicate it in my end and maybe raise a ticket for this one. I'm just gonna take a note of this one.
And I'm on
Yeah, tell me the version also.
8832. 8817.
8817. Okay. And just to confirm, the second form which shows this detail, you are still using what control are you using here to display that?
Rich
Is it
text
simple there?
rich
Okay.
text display.
Okay, rich text display, perfect. Cool, Riley. I'll check that. If it's a bug, I'm gonna report that as a DT or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Actually, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I got your email ID, Greg. So I'll shoot you an email by end of the day today. So I'm going to keep the bridge open for some more time. If you guys have any other questions that I can answer for you, feel free to use the chat option and drop your questions. And since you're here, Greg, would you mind dropping the version of the studio that you're using right now to build this? So I make sure that I build that on the same. Okay, cool. which has user interface way to make settings in the URL. Sure, let's look at that. Let me share my screen back. I mean, I do know that for the flows that are not used as interface, you can definitely change and rename the name for that API to make it clean. It could be any string that you would like to refer to as. The case that you have right now, is it the one in which you have to have a form at the start and use that as an interface, Greg?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. So when you come in the normal one, I don't know if you know, I'm just kind of giving a quick recap. So you can override the service URL, and you can actually mention what the service you would want to call as. So let's look for a form if we can. So I think it's either the ID or this path of the workflow, which essentially has its name in it.
Can you repeat that? That would disappear right there.
No, I'm just saying that it's either going to be the ID or it's going to be like the name of the flow that you have, like how it's showing now. If I open it, oh, it actually checks the text in the flow ID. So this is what you're going to want to get rid of, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of as much as that as possible.
I see. I don't see that option when we are using it as interface. So would you be, what's the use case that you have, Greg? Would you eventually want to use that form as part of another app, like a iframed, or you want to have it accessed as a link, like how I'm doing right now?
Yeah, just access as a link. I'm not sure if
Okay.
the API service would work like that because I saw
Okay.
you click the API service and then you could
Mhm.
click a
Yeah. So
like a
in the
reference type
right.
URL, but that would
Yep.
that display the form if you did it the API style?
Yeah, no, it will not.
No.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it's a good point. I mean, we have it here, so I think something like that should be when we're checking on the user interface as well. So that option doesn't show up here. And it takes the whole ID and puts that in the URL. Let's check. Yeah, I think the only option if you want to use as a direct URL, it's just going to have that. So I don't see any option to mask this in here.
Okay.
but I'll still check. If I find something, I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So just to understand it a little more, your form looked really cool, Greg. So what would be the final objective? Would you just want to expose that form as like a link, somebody clicks on that and interacts with that? Or you think it would be better to have that like embedded in some already existing web page at your end? What's the end goal looks like?
It would be just from decisions. We're
Mhm.
trying to avoid making another, a server or a site for maintenance. We want it all to be stemmed from decisions.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. And the other way could be if you just use that form on like a dashboard, right? That's another
Okay.
way. So it'll just be like a dashboard and that form will be embedded on that. You won't see that big link how you're seeing here. Have you explored that?
Yeah, but the only thing
Mhm,
that we wanted to avoid having people
mhm.
log into decisions through the portal. So we just wanted like a direct link, nice and easy.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it has to be like a public facing thing, which doesn't need any login. You just click and start working on that. Is that so?
Yeah. Yep.
I
So
see.
I configured the guest login and stuff like that
Uh-huh.
to have it so that anybody within our company can click the link.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we're just trying to see if the link could be cleaned up a little bit. That's all.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. But then, yeah, I think you would need to log in because your form could come here and you can manipulate the ID, but it'll still go through
Okay.
some authentication because it's, of course, a
Yeah,
portal. Yeah,
sure.
makes sense. All right, I think unless you guys have any, don't have any more questions, I think we can wrap up the session. And I'll get back to you, Greg. I have to take over. Thank you. Yeah, sure, Greg. Cool.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks everyone for joining in today. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.